We invited our friends Mick and Rachel to share how mindfulness changed their lives. They are both changemakers, Mick in regenerative agriculture and deep ecology, and Rachel in social justice and sound healing. Years ago, during their times of activism, there were also great moments of stress and seeking forgetfulness in alcohol, but their encounter with mindfulness changed this path to a path of love and understanding. And today, they share their story with us, and in which way they share their knowledge now during retreats that they guide.
Yeah, sure. So I'll introduce myself. This is Mimosa. I really love animals, actually, and nature. So yeah, I think when I think about my own journey, I like to come back to how I was as a child. And it's quite good to check in. Am I still playing, like how I was as a child? And when I was a child, I spent a lot of time in the woods, and I spent a lot of time playing my guitar. And it was always a refuge for me, sound. It was a way to really feel what I was feeling and also express it, to really have this flowing energy. And when I started meditating, which was about a decade ago, after 10 years doing frontline social advocacy work, I was at a point when I was stressed, basically. Let's just say that. And I'd really lost touch with this inner world, and also knowing what I needed and how to meet myself with love and care. But when I started meditating, I realized that, what I'm doing with meditation is really what I've always done with music and sound, which is really just learning to hang out in the present moment, not worrying about the future, not ruminating on the past, but just being. And then mindfulness gave me a path to really understand that in a more structured way, and then to bring that into my relationships and more into the world.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
So my name is Mick McAvoy, and I come from Ireland, and have lived here in France for the last 10 years, working and connected to the community in Plum Village, caring for the regenerative farm, which we call Happy Farm. And I came into the sort of awareness, or came into close to the practice of mindfulness at a stage in my life in my 20s, when I sort of realized I had a vacuum, a spiritual vacuum in my life, where I didn't have any sense of how to look after myself. I enjoyed my life, but it was very much in terms of working, and then in times where I wasn't working, I was partying with friends, and it's drinking and smoking, and really not able to look after myself. And I'd thrown away any sense of a spiritual life from my Catholic background, growing up in Ireland in my late teens and in my 20s. But I always had this connection to the outdoors, to the garden, to growing food, to just spending time outdoors in the forest or on the beach with family and friends. And that was something that really restored, regenerated me, this connection with the natural world. So I found a place in my life at this stage of my life where the sort of the spiritual growth that comes with spending time connected to nature and to the natural world is something that I know restores and regenerates myself. And I see it in our times that we're in such a time of emergency, or climate emergency, or nature emergency. So this idea of a spiritual ecology or deep ecology is going beyond this idea that we can give names to things. So this tree is a cherry tree, or we have a scientific or a Latin name. But all the other aspects of our connection to this tree, or to the beautiful wildflowers that are coming, in spring, this spirit of reciprocity, of interconnection, of interbeing. And when we find our place in this family of things, that we actually feel a sense of home. So this term ecology, eco, comes from the word home. So the practice of spending time outdoors for myself, and I hope when I can, have that privilege of guiding and accompanying other people to spend time in the natural world, is to find their space, their home. They can come home to themselves without having to believe in something that is maybe not something that they connect to. They can believe in the grass under their feet. They can believe in the sky above their heads. They can believe in the feeling of the sun on their skin. They can believe in the fact that they can harvest a radish or a lettuce from the garden and eat it, and it nourishes them. So for me, that's this sense of nature connection, this connection to the spirit of regeneration, regenerative gardening, regenerative farming, and spiritual growth. And we're here with the wider family of things with little Mimosa. Blackbird.
I think there's a level of deep rest that we can get to. Many people say that sound is the easiest way into tasting the present moment, and certainly for sustaining our time there from not being drawn away. So in a way, we talk about the mind, it's like it needs something to play with, and the sound is so captivating for the mind. And so by just listening to the sound of the gong, which is something that I work with, I know that people have found, people often come and say, that was the best deep relaxation I've ever had. That I've never felt that relaxed, and sort of like dribbling, and their mind's blown, and they're like, wow, why can I get more of this? And so I just think, it's such a precious tool. And I think that rest is one of the most fundamental healing properties that we miss so much.
My sort of practice with mindfulness, with this nature connection element, which is just simply by spending time outdoors on a beautiful day like today, it's as simple as that, has really just taught me that it's, I have a place in life. And what I was doing for so many years was giving from giving water from a well that was just running out of water, to the point where I didn't have much left to give, but I kept trying to extract, this energy that wasn't really there to give. And I came close to burning out, and that's not a good place to be in for oneself and for those that I love and for wider society. So I realized that there was, in this slowing down, there's nothing shameful about it. Actually, it's one of the most important things that I could have done to replenish the water in my own well, so that I can share that with others. But I learned, probably for the first time in my life over the last 10, 15 years, that that's the most important thing, and it's not selfish. It's actually the most important place to begin. And once I have that capacity, to that resource of water to nourish myself and my own well, I can share that with others, but always taking time to make sure that it's filling back up, rather than coming back to an empty well and being burnt out again. And I think it's such a common human experience, whether we work in medical care or in law, whether we're working in a supermarket, whether we're a delivery driver, whether we're a teacher, whatever it may be. We're all in this society where there's so much pressure, and it's so counterintuitive. Maybe we've even been taught that it's selfish to look after ourselves and take that time for ourselves to slow down. But it really is, it's the opposite, and it's what the world needs right now, and what so many of us need right now.
Yeah. Well, what's coming to me is the energy behind our actions matters. Yeah. I don't think I knew that before. I don't think I was aware at all of the energy inside me, actually, even though there's a lot of it. I've got a lot of energy. Yeah. So I really see the path of mindfulness. It's an art of becoming aware of that energy within yourself, and then learning how to, I don't want to say master it, it's really care for it, work with it, and then also to channel it into things that you want to. I see it more like create in the world. First of all, that is a positive relationship with yourself, and then the beloved ones around you. And then it's kind of, there's this ripple effect. And yes, we can go and we can do grand things, and maybe we will. But where is the energy coming from? And are we including ourselves in the circle of compassion? A dear friend said this to me, because so often we're just externalizing our power, and we're also externalizing our impact, thinking that we have to do something out here to make a difference. And I see it much more now as a kind of energetic rippling flow of how I'm taking care of myself, how I'm interacting with others, and sort of creating new systems that way, actually to replace old systems that are harming, instead of just being against them, and kind of fighting with this energy. For me, it was very angry, and dualistic as well, kind of us and them. And I think, like, as Mick's speaking to, coming home to yourself and to the earth and to each other, it's more like a beautiful dance that I want to create. It's more like a song, and being part of that instead of just being against something. Yeah.
I would share, it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's really important to slow down. It's really important to prioritize yourself and be intentional about self-care. And it can be quite simple. And there's nothing to join or nothing to believe in terms of a sense of a spiritual practice. For myself, my spiritual practice, or my teacher, if you want to use that language, is the planet. It can be time in the garden, time in the forest, time on the beach, whether that's, time in a park in the city. Those are the elements that restore, regenerate, and heal and transform me. So it's, for me, so simple, and that's how so many of our ancestors in the past, from wherever we are in the world, would have lived. We lived close to nature, we lived close to the earth, and we lived close to each other. So also, it's okay to feel burnt out. It's okay to feel tired. It's okay to feel exhausted. There's reasons why that's such a common experience, but it's really time to pause, to stop, to slow down, and care for yourself.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think building on that, for me, I'd say find community as well. And maybe that is coming to a retreat. I mean, that's what I did. I think it's kind of like a slippery slope, and then you build momentum. But I know for myself, when I started taking care of myself, this was so unusual in my friendship group, actually. And they're lovely people, but it's just our culture. The way we take care of ourselves would be to go and drink for 3 days in a row, and it was, yeah, it was fun at the time, but I could see this isn't sustainable. But then when I started pulling back from that, there was some kind of loneliness also. And so I think it's important to give ourselves the grace of, we can still love people, but we can also notice, actually, I need something else in this moment, or I need some different medicine, actually. And if you're starting to feel that and feel curious and drawn to certain practices, then it's just allowing yourself the grace to do that. And again, loving people, but it doesn't mean you need to be going into those patterns again. You might need some other people in your life now. And so for me, it was starting to go to retreats and actually meet other people as well, and then start to build in to my life a structure of support so that I could explore these other practices that maybe weren't coming to me from society, from family, from my friends. Yeah, so I think this is something I'd like to share. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope if people choose to come and spend the time with us on retreat here, that folks can take away this sense of belonging, a sense of reconnecting to themselves. So many of us, our lives are so busy. We all have so many responsibilities to care for. And in that reality, life can just disappear very fast. So I hope that people can reconnect with the fact that they belong in this grander ecosystem of life, that they can see that it's important to care for themselves. And I really also hope, and often it happens in retreats like this, like ours, that they find each other and they find simple friendship and reconnect with each other, to find that it can be super supportive to have a shared intention to care for each other, care for others, care for the people that they love, and care for the world. So really it's a simple thing of, yeah, coming home to themselves, finding support in community, and going away with an intention that they want to make this part of their lives in the most simplest of ways. As they